You know, what does the color of your eyes have in common with a cactus sitting out in the desert? It sounds like a weird riddle, right? But the answer is this amazing secret that connects literally everything. I'm talking you, me, your dog, that tree outside, every single living thing on this planet. It's this beautiful cycle of life, and we're going to break it all down. So, yeah, that's the big question, isn't it? We all start out as these tiny babies, and yet somehow we're also part of this huge, tangled web of life. So what's the secret thread that connects it all? Well, the thing is, it's not just one simple answer. It's more like a story that just keeps repeating itself. And the best place to start that story is with the part we all know, our own.
Okay, so let's start with the human life cycle. This is the journey that, every single one of us is on. It's a path we all walk, with these different stages that shape our lives from start to finish.
I bet this timeline looks pretty familiar, right? We all start out as babies, can't do much for ourselves. Then, boom, we're toddlers, trying to figure out how to walk. As kids, it feels like we're taller every single year. Then come the teenage years, that bridge to becoming a full-on adult. And finally, we reach our elderly years, full of wisdom and stories. See how each stage just builds right on top of the last? It's this universal journey of growing and changing. And let's just zoom in on one of these for a second, the toddler. The definition's simple, right? A kid who's just starting to walk. But think about what that actually means. It's the first time we literally stand on our own 2 feet, the moment we start exploring the world all by ourselves. I mean, that's a massive, massive leap. All right, so we get it. We all follow this basic roadmap of growing up, but that doesn't explain why you have your specific eye color or why your hair is the way it is. What makes you, you? To figure that out, we've got to zoom out a little bit to our family. And this is where your family steps into the picture. See, you're not just some random collection of parts. You're more like a unique recipe, a mix of your parents and their parents before them. And this is how we get our traits, which is just a fancy word for all those characteristics we get from our parents. Yeah, let's stick with that recipe idea for a sec. Imagine you get half your ingredients from one parent and the other half from the other parent. You mix them all together, and what you get is something brand new, but you can still kind of taste the familiar flavors, right? Well, that whole process, getting those ingredients, those characteristics, that's exactly what it means to inherit. And you want to see the perfect example of this in action? Look at twins. Identical twins, they come from the exact same genetic recipe, so they look, well, identical. And they're always either 2 brothers or 2 sisters. But non-identical twins are totally different. They're from 2 separate recipes that just happen to bake at the same time. That's why you can have a brother and a sister, and they might look nothing alike. It's like watching inheritance happen right before your eyes. Okay, so we've got our own life cycle, and we inherit stuff from our family. Got it. But here's where it gets really, really cool. What if I told you that this exact same rule, this whole idea of inheritance, applies to pretty much everything else that's alive? It's time to zoom way out to the biggest family of all, the great family of life. We're talking people, plants, animals, you name it. There's a word for any living thing, and that word is organism. And guess what? We're all in the club. Now, the definition is super simple. An organism is just a living creature. But what's so powerful about this one little word is that it completely erases all the lines we usually draw between things. It puts you in the same category as your dog, as that bird singing outside, as the giant tree in the park. We're all connected. We're all part of this one gigantic family. And what's so wild is that this huge family of life, it plays by the exact same rules as our little human families. An organism's baby, that's its offspring. A bunch of puppies born at once, that's a litter. A whole group of similar critters, like all the lions on the planet, that's a species. But did you catch the most important part? Offspring inherit traits from their parents. It's the exact same rule. Okay, but that brings up a really big question. If everything is just a mix of its parents, how did we end up with animals that can survive in the freezing cold of the Arctic and animals that can live in a scorching hot desert? I mean, a polar bear wouldn't last a day in the desert, and a camel would be in big trouble at the North Pole. So what's going on? The answer? Well, it's the final piece of our puzzle. It's not just about the organism, it's about the world around it, the environment. And the secret weapon that every living thing uses to survive out there is something called adaptation. It's all about learning how to fit in.
So the secret is adaptation. But here's the thing, it's not some conscious choice. A bear doesn't just wake up one day and decide, you know what, I think I'll grow thicker fur today. Nope. It works like this. Over a long time, the animals that just so happen to have traits that are a good fit for their environment, like, say, slightly thicker fur in a cold place, are the ones that do better. They survive, they have babies, and they pass on those helpful traits. That's how the whole species slowly changes or adapts.
Just look at plants. They're experts at this. In a rainforest, the problem is there's way too much rain, and the ground is all soggy. So what's the solution? They grow wide roots so they don't fall over, and their leaves have these special drip tips to shed all that extra water. Now flip that. In the desert, the problem is the exact opposite. Not enough water, way too much sun. The solution? Super deep roots to hunt for water way down low, and leaves that are designed to create their own shade. See? Same goal, survival, just totally different toolkits.
All right, we've got all the pieces on the board now. We've talked about our own life cycle, how we inherit things from our family, and how living things adapt to the world around them. Now it's time to put it all together and see the big secret to survival.
Survival? It sounds simple enough. It just means staying alive. But out in the wild, it's a tough business. For most plants and animals, it's a huge challenge every single day. So how does anything make it? Well, it all boils down to a really simple, powerful cycle that just repeats over and over. And here it is, the secret sauce, the cycle that keeps everything going. Step 1, you inherit traits. Think of it like getting a toolkit from your parents. Step 2, you adapt. You use that toolkit to survive wherever you live. Step 3, you reproduce. If your toolkit worked well, you get to have babies and pass that successful toolkit on. And finally, Step 4, that ensures survival. The species keeps going, and the whole amazing cycle kicks off all over again. So just think about that for a second. The exact same process that decided the color of your hair is the same process that gave a polar bear its thick white coat and a cactus its spiky defenses. From your own family tree all the way to the tallest tree in the jungle, it's this one simple cycle: inherit, adapt, survive. That connects every single one of us. And that kind of leaves us with a final big question to think about. The world is always changing, right? So what are the challenges the next generation is going to face? And what traits, what new tools in the toolkit will be the ones that help them survive?